Hey everybody, I'm Grasshopper James, also known as James Mountain, official Grasshopper Manufacturer Community Manager, and I'm here with my community deputy, Maddie Kardashian Jenner, and this
That's
is
me.
Road to Boss
The
Fight.
underworld be a shadowy
Hi,
place.
Today we're gonna
everybody.
be,
Anyway, not a problem. Take a
today we're
look
gonna,
over
oh,
there.
Yesik,
You see that
love you
lamp?
too, dude. Thanks a
Hanging
lot.
on the wall.
I can
Today
light
we're
that
gonna
up
be
for you.
taking on the
Let's
George
shop,
Battle,
of course.
levels
Give it a
2-1
try,
through
G.
2-4 of Shadows of the Damned. This is only my second time ever being on a live stream, so I'm going to try my best not to completely screw this up. And hopefully,
Without doubting
Maddie's
you
not going to say
again.
anything
What can I say,
completely
Johnson?
racist and
You are the right
inappropriate, but I'll
tool
try to
for
keep her in
every
check.
job.
I'll do my
So
best.
when do I get to light up some demons?
I'm sure you'll have your chance.
All right,
but I
so
hate my
we're
light shot.
starting
It's a
out now,
nasty
and
crash.
just to give you a quick rundown what's going on for those of you who don't know, we're playing as, or Maddie's playing as Garcia Hotspur, who is a dude who, put really simply, is going to hell to try to rescue his
Ka-ching!
stolen
Set him
girlfriend,
up those right
Paula,
gems, G.
and a bunch of crazy shit happens in the meantime. S5 Flare, you're the real hero, dude. Also, once again, sorry for the somewhat possibly jarring language switches every once in a while, but we've got Japanese viewers too here as well. So, Nao-san, またよろしくお願いいたします。こんにちは。またよろしければ、日本語でも全然大丈夫ですので、日本の方がいましたら、バンバン日本語でもコメントしてくだ
What
さ
have
い。
they got
で
to
きる
talk
だけ、
about? Once your soul rolls
答えれるよう
into
にしてお
town,
きます
that's
んで、
it.
よろしくお
You're
願いし
damned.
ます。
And Fleming doesn't let anybody off the hook.
He sounds like a real dick, Tater.
All right, so dude is currently jacking open a door.
Johnson, why
Maddie,
is
you're
there
a bit
goat
more
head hanging on the
uh,
wall?
Oh,
familiar
well,
with this game than I
everybody
am.
knows that
Do
goats
you
are
want
a
to give
source
like a
of
real
light.
quick rundown of
Right,
what's going on, what
of
we're doing right
course.
now?
Well, we're just learning about goats, which are the source of light, as
Obviously.
I'm sure everyone is aware. So whenever it's a little bit dark, all you
Poor
gotta do is
tyke.
look for a goat.
Most new
Oh, and
arrivals
also
in the
we're being
underworld are
introduced to
condemned
our
to
baby
guard doors
doors.
like this for the first 100 years.
Baby
Oh,
doors
we
are
all have to
hungry.
start somewhere.
This baby door wants to eat a strawberry, so we gotta find a
Paula,
strawberry for a baby
Come
door,
back!
as one does.
This is kind of an, it's not just an action game, it's kind of edutainment as well, because it teaches you all
Easy,
kinds of
Teeny.
life skills
This
like
place is
navigating
full of
hell
deceptions
and
dirty tricks.
proper child care techniques, stuff like that. So it's a really versatile game slash learning
Got a
experience.
floating.
Strawberry! Oh, gimme, gimme, gimme! Oh, these things are like demon catnip. When I was little.
Johnson, do I take this
We got our
strawberry?
big strawberry.
Yes! Jeez, excuse me for having a little
Feed
fruit
our little
fantasy.
baby door.
And Morikyo-san, thanks for permitting the term "big boner." I forgot to I forgot to tweak
Hey,
the
don't
chat.
you dare get my strawberry to that scrub on the door. No!
What do you call
Gee,
it?
you very
The
squanderer.
censorship settings, I guess. So
Yeah, we got our chat settings last time were kind of funny because it's like
Drinks.
it kept
At least
banning
there's
things
one
like
good
big
thing about
boner,
the
which like the
underworld.
game
What,
kept going
liver
big
damage?
boner, big
That's
boner,
the
and then the
beauty
chat
of
would
it.
try to
In
say
the
big boner,
underworld,
and
you
it
don't
would be like,
die
no,
from
sorry, you
drinks.
can't say
They
that.
unkill people here.
Only Garcia can say big boner.
Paula?
Alright, and the healing items in this game are booze.
Obviously.
Various kinds of booze heal various
¿Qué es esta
amounts of
mierda?
health. I mean, this is all just, all this stuff just makes sense. Like, I don't know why I'm telling
I
you
was
this.
afraid
This is
of
just
this.
What?
common
Why is
sense.
it suddenly
again,
getting
just
dark?
basic life
This
skills.
isn't
You guys should have
ordinary
learned this in
darkness.
elementary school.
If you stay in it too
Yeah.
long, it'll suck the life out of you.
So this is introducing us to the
Quick,
darkness
use the light
effect,
shot on the goat
which is
head.
if you stay
can't
in
stay the
darkness too
darkness
long,
like this. It eats away the
you
flesh
will
of
start
mortals.
taking damage. So you have to go into the light,
Hurry,
which
it's
we
got
will
the
do
light
by
shot.
shooting a light shot
How
at
did
this
you know
goat,
shooting a goat
as
would
I mentioned
banish the
before.
darkness?
How did you not know?
Absolutely
Some
not an
demon
allegory
hunter,
for
I
religion,
say.
in case anyone was getting
Just
worried.
warn me if I have to fuck a horse to unlock a door, huh?
You can hear our happy baby door. It's like you can hear it like laughing in the background because it was
Is
so
that
happy
you?
we fed it.
I can't see for shit.
If only
Fine
there were
Pixelman
some way
says,
to
"Who's
shed
talking in the
light
game?
on
Was
this
there a scene
situation.
missing or something?
Don't mug me, bitch.
Did we skip over something, or my audio is basically screwed?" So There you go. Oh, in the cutscene.
Themselves.
Is it
It's all for
Garcia
dinner.
and Johnson?
Yeah, Garcia. I mean, they're the only ones here right now.
All right. Okay, the big boner is speaking.
And this time there's no goat
Now
to
San
save
says,
us.
この酒は、剣鬼剣売。すいません、ずっと剣舞って勝手に呼んでました。岩手県のお酒で実際に売っています。Okay, so Nao-san says that the sake, one of the versions of booze in the game is called Onikenbai, which is an actual type of sake from Iwate Prefecture that
Oh,
apparently you can buy in real life.
well, that is the ultimate merchandise.
Nao-san, 貴重な情報ありがとうございます。大変助かります。
How'd you know to use the light shot on that deep?
And Erdor says, when will you guys have custom emotes for this stream?
We can do custom emotes once Twitch decides we're official. Twitch still thinks we're just some randos.
Yeah, we've done the application and everything. Still waiting to hear back. So we'll let you guys know. Joe Williams, so a remaster would be cool. It would indeed be cool. This is one of those things that I can't really comment on, but don't lose hope, you guys. Here goes one of the various posters in the game. These are some of the kind of, not really Easter eggs, but one of the little meaningless but fun little fun points, I guess.
Yeah, they're just scattered around. Something to look at. Oops.
Fine Fictional Men says, when Garcia speaks in Spanish, it's sexy as fuck.
It's true.
Am I allowed to say that? Like, am I allowed to speak out the abbreviation here? Or... Fuck it. Apparently I am now. All right.
I mean, this game has plenty of bad words, so I don't think you need to
Fucking kidding me.
Keep running.
censor
There's no way to
yourself too
disperse
much.
darkness this thick.
This is the advanced darkness, and that we cannot
More darkness
light up,
dead
so we
ahead.
just gotta
At
run
least we're
through
standing
and
on
get
the
through
bright side
that.
of things this time.
If you can call this bright.
Dead Soul DX says, I wonder if there's going to be a day where GHM and GHA will stream Flower, Sun, and Rain. That's highly likely. It might not be in the immediate future, but that's definitely something we've been talking about. And yeah, I definitely wouldn't discount that. Seeing as how, just a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, seeing as how next month marks the 15th anniversary of the No More Heroes series, our next one or two live streams will most likely be No More Heroes related. But yeah, Flower, Sun, and Rain, or at least parts of it, is definitely something we've got in our sights. So yeah, look forward to that.
Yeah, basically like the whole GHM library is a possibility. Even some of
Most
the,
of it, yeah.
yeah, even some of the like lesser known titles that we've been a part of.
There's one or two games that we'd rather not get back into, but let's not get too deep into that, I guess.
Strawberry.
Oh, there.
Bunny Cartoon, yep, it's this December. I can't remember if it's the North American European release or the Japanese release, but this December marks exactly 15 years. It's been a long ass time, yeah. No Job No Life says, are you guys allowed to say anything about the Alien game currently in development? We are currently working on a quintuple A game based on the Alien series that I just completely made up just now. And honestly, yeah, real talk, I have no idea where that rumor came from. We're not doing a AAA Alien release.
Yeah,
yeah,
if you saw, Suda tweeted a bunch of question marks, which were not facetious, they were very, literal and honest question marks.
Yeah, he seriously had no idea what was going on. I mentioned this on Twitter earlier, but yeah, Twitter or Reset Era, one of the two. But yeah, we had no idea where that even came from. We thought it was pretty funny though, but we are absolutely not working on any sort of AAA Alien game. Yeah, sorry if that disappoints anybody. We've got a couple things in the works right now, but
The world has a
absolutely none of
part.
them
That's
are
right.
AAA
And vending
Alien
machines
games.
too.
So
Keep
sorry
it
about that.
You're going to need convenient access to drinks pretty much 24/7.
Right, we got a vending machine
Joe
here.
Williams so says, oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just,
Oh.
I mean, we have plenty of booze right now, so we don't need to buy any.
Joe Williams so says, what about Deadpool? That gets brought up in interviews with Suda a lot, but Suda says a lot of things. I can at least confidently, and when I say confidently, I mean that I'm not going to lose my job for saying this. I can at least confidently confirm that we are not working on a Deadpool game right now. That would be cool. I'd love to work on a Deadpool game myself, but that's also not something we're doing at the moment. Nao-san says, Maddie-san 前回の配信よりエイムが上々してますね。素晴らしい。So,
Oh,
the aim has gotten a lot better since
What
the
does
last
this do?
stream.
Keep it down. That's a performance
Uh,
enhancer.
Nice one, Maddie.
頑張っています。
You're nailing it. And Airdor says just original IPs, right? At the moment, yeah, we're focusing on original IPs. That could mean a couple different things. Take that as you will. But at the moment, we're definitely only focusing on original IPs. That's right. The real Alien game was the friends we made along the way. Thanks a lot. I don't want to mispronounce your name, but yes, LK. I was gonna make a joke similar to that, but you beat me to it. So
It just so happens I'm
Nice
a
one.
fruitarian, thank you.
Also, Airdor says, when will you guys have Suda on a stream to play non-GMH games, including you guys? Want to see him play a bunch of indie games or a bunch of Nintendo games? I've been talking to him actually about trying to get him on a stream with us playing any game. Honestly, he's, especially right now, he's a super busy dude. It's definitely, I can promise you that he'll definitely be on here at some point. I'm not sure which games he's going to play, or how much of it will be him playing and how much of it will be Maddie or myself, probably Maddie because I suck, playing a video game and him just kind of commenting on it, but he'll be around at some point. I'll definitely let you guys know as soon as that's decided and publicizable, if that's a word. Sorry, I'm not from here.
And it's totally not your job to like speak English good.
So, does Willie always
Yeah,
take
my
a big
job is
smoky
being
dump in
word
public?
good, so
You should see him
I'm
piss.
trying my best.
Okay.
Demons can't
Fine
stand
Fictional Man,
light.
no
Gotta put it all
microtransactions
somewhere,
or free to
you
play
know?
games.
Barrels. I
Absolutely
can
no
see we get a problem with
microtransactions
a lot
or
of
free to play
thought.
games. That's right.
There is some boots hiding here.
This is also absolutely my job to know this stuff, so I feel like a dickhead even having to confirm. But Dead Soul DX says, I was wondering if Killer 7's IP is owned by Capcom, or the characters, story arc, etc. also owned by Capcom or by GHM.
Where else
Maddie,
have
I'm
you seen that colour?
don't quote
I
me on
reckon
this
take
yet.
a
I'm
walk on the
pretty
wild
sure
side
we
and bring
own
this whole situation
Killer
into
7. Do
perspective.
we not? Am I misunderstanding
I
that?
don't think so.
You don't think so? Oh, actually, I think I may have been mistaking that for Shadows of the Damned.
Yeah.
Again, please don't quote me on that. I get confused really easily. I'm old and oh so weary.
As far
So sorry, you guys.
as far as our games that we own the IP like completely, Silver Case, Flower, Sun and Rain, 25th Ward, Shadows of the Damned. Those are the
Let's
ones
have a
I
look
know
at the
for
switch
sure.
from inside
And the Alien series now,
And the
apparently.
Alien series. And all the Alien movies. And all former and subsequent Alien productions.
We also own 80% of Marvel and Disney too. So
Yes. But not Deadpool.
no, just not that.
Everything except Deadpool.
Killer is dead. Shit.
Nope.
Honestly, I don't own that.
No, we don't.
I-
A lot of the games that we did collaborations with other companies, it's either owned by someone else or there might be some like shared custody, but the 4 titles I listed are the ones that we own wholly.
Yeah, for example, like No More Heroes, I think we own like 10 or 20% or something, where Marvelous owns the majority of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it's stuff like that. Desperado Dave says, how do you guys get Dan Smith into No More Heroes 3? Luckily, we in general, and Suda himself in particular, have a pretty good relationship with most of the publishers that we worked with in the past. So basically, we asked and they said, yeah, it's cool. And it's
Yeah, I mean, I think you mean Travis Strikes Again, which used characters from a lot of
Oh,
series.
yeah.
And yeah, so it's not that Grasshopper can't use these characters ever. It's just that they're owned by someone else, so we have to get permission. We can't just like willy-nilly do whatever we want with them.
Wait, we can use these barrels. They're filled with pressurized gas. They'll explode.
Whoa! Wait. So these zombies are covered in darkness, so we gotta hit them with a light shot before we can shoot them. And then I got a really cool headshot right there.
Nice.
I hope everybody clapped. And then again, I'm really good at this game. Look at that! 3 in a row.
Ooh.
Oh, that guy freaking jumped. He's my worst enemy.
Over there, the door.
I got a upgrade.
So many bits says Pach Pach Pachi. Thank you very much. I mean, I didn't do shit, but nice one, Maddie.
Thank you. Here's another poster here. Vote for Fleming. I guess we didn't watch the beginning of this, but Fleming is the main bad guy. He's the one who kidnapped our girlfriend. He's like the king of hell or whatever.
The last demon who tried that?
No.
Neither do I, G.
In case it wasn't sort of obvious from all the crazy shit going on in the background and stuff.
Never mind.
Yeah, so basically, and I believe I mentioned this at the beginning, but for those of you who don't know, we're basically running around hell right now, trying to rescue Garcia's girlfriend. The whole, being in hell thing, obviously that had a lot of effect, a lot of I was gonna say influence, whatever, on how they design the levels and stuff. And so stuff like themes of like light and darkness are used throughout the game. Like, there's the darkness, like the literal physical darkness that can like harm you, and you have to like, light stuff up to like get rid of it and stuff like that. Also, one thing that I heard from some of the developers, a lot of the artists, programmers, developers that worked on this game still work at Grasshopper now. This was probably mentioned in the last stream, but one of the ways that they decided to kind of give that extra, I guess you could say realistic hell vibe was instead of having just regular buildings that look a bit creepy, they incorporated a lot of stuff into the buildings that made the buildings and the background itself kind of feel like actual like physical organisms, or actually like actual like living organisms, like all kinds of creepy tentacles coming out of walls and stuff like that. They didn't want it to just look like some 19th century like Jack the Ripper style stereotypical London background or something. They wanted to make sure that the player knew, okay, something creepy as hell is going on here.
Creepy
Literally
as hell,
something creepy
literally,
as hell.
yeah.
There you go. And yeah, they put a lot of work into making sure that it wasn't just kind of like, dark and gritty, but actually hell-like.
They wanted to get their representation of hell as accurate as possible.
As I mentioned before in the previous stream, if there's one thing that Grasshopper goes for in every game we make, it's absolute realism.
Is this some kind of diagram?
I don't know. You leave town for a few demon centuries, and suddenly there's all this amazing new technology when you get back.
Jerry View says was Fleming was supposed to be in No More Heroes 3 originally, right? Actually, I can't remember about No More
There,
Heroes 3,
yeah,
but
well,
there
there
was
was
supposed
an
to be
interview that Suda did where he wanted Travis to go to like space prison, and Fleming was going to be there, and also Fleming is Midori Kawa's dad.
actually I think that was I think it was Travis Strikes Again that was supposed to be in originally at least. And yeah, they cut that part up. But yeah, just as Maddie said, he was supposed to go to space prison, meet Fleming, find out that that's actually Midori Kawa's dad, and there's gonna be this big kind of like exposition filled conversation, but that got scrapped at the last minute, unfortunately. Erder says no, James. It was No More Heroes 3. Oh, okay. It might have been No More Heroes 3 as well, but that was definitely something that also was originally considered for Travis Strikes Again before that.
Oh, fudge! What am I talking about? This is what caused those tremors. It's a melody of death.
So many
Oh
bits.
my
Okay,
God.
I'm
Oh my
I,
God, oh my
I'm
God,
probably
oh my
gonna
God,
get
oh my
bitched
God,
at for
oh my
even
God,
commenting
God,
on
God,
this,
God,
but
God.
so many bits says is Hotel Barcelona a real thing? I'm gonna be honest with you. I
Why should
do
I be
not know.
afraid of a few puny
It's
earthquakes?
something that
What
we've
the hell?
been talking about for a long time. Something a lot of people have been talking about for a long time. Um, it's definitely not something that's been completely forgotten about or given up on, but
Are you afraid of
that's
that?
not only officially, but honestly, as far as my knowledge of the situation goes, I really don't know. I wish I could tell you more.
It's nice to be noticed, huh?
Fine Fictional Men says, why is Garcia attractive? Uh, he's just a hottie, man. I don't... Maddie, why is Garcia attractive?
I mean, he's a hot man who will go to hell to save his girlfriend. So, and he wears a purple jacket, which is
He does have that bitchin' purple jacket.
yeah, nothing sexier than a purple leather jacket.
And again, I don't want to screw up your name. It's either G. Henry Perez or G. Henry Perez. But for James and Maddie, do you two have a favorite game of all time? Maddie, what would you say is your favorite game of all time?
Oh gosh, that's so hard. I've always said Ace Attorney. That's been like one of my favorite games since I first played it when I was 15. But it's like I feel like I have to like put them into different genres because I have like a favorite game for every genre because they're all different.
Yeah.
Like my favorite shooter game is like Resident Evil 4. My favorite hack and slash is No More Heroes. My favorite RPG is Super Mario RPG. So those are some of them.
Yeah, my favorite game of all time. Damn, that's hard. I'm gonna be a bit more general and vague, I guess, and I'm just gonna list a couple of my favorites. I think this came up possibly on this came up on the last stream, I think, and probably a couple times on Twitter and stuff as well. But I'd probably say
Stronger demons require
No
a
More
constant supply of
Heroes,
human blood, which they store in special
Night in the
repositories in their
Woods,
bodies. They're a source of innate power, but also an exploitable weakness.
original Mario
Talk about
Kart from
weird
way back in
Well,
the day.
James, when you've only played 5 games, it's pretty easy to have a favorite.
I played way more games like way back in the day than I do now, to be honest. But also, it's got its flaws, and especially if you got the European version, which was completely screwed at the end. But Rygar, I've always had a real soft spot for Rygar as well. Do you know Rygar, Maddie, or is
Yeah,
that
I know
like a bit
Rygar. It's like
before your time?
Castlevania, but with a yo-yo.
Basically, yeah. It's like Castlevania with the yo-yo and a better soundtrack. Oh, that's a good question. Uncle Filco, sorry, says, what difficulty is this? Is this easy or
I am
Legion
on
or
normal, which is,
normal?
I
Okay.
believe is called Demon Hunter. Time for my favorite poster.
I understand why
Strawberry
brains
shit
and
cake.
eyes are on the menu.
Not.
But
It's
why
like
do
it's not even
demons
like a
like
good joke, but it
strawberries?
makes me
You
laugh.
don't know about strawberries? They're demon fruit, G.
When
Fleming's idea
Maddie and
of
I
a
first went
practical
through this
joke in the
level
world of the
on
living.
sort of like a practice run a few weeks ago, I showed my
That's
daughter
disgusting.
the strawberry
That's
shit
not
cake
the half
poster,
of
and
it.
she thought
You
this was
thought
the funniest
prepared
thing she'd ever
cherry
seen
was
in her
just a
life.
figure of
So I've
speech.
got a soft spot for this one as well.
It is hilarious, and also that's when Johnson teaches us that strawberries are made out of tongues, which is important information. This is a dead baby, which is really sad and ominous. Okay, so here we are finally meeting George for the first time. Our boss
so
boy.
George is the sort of the main
Very important,
antagonist
pendejo.
of the stream
Something
today.
like that.
Not the entire
Fleming
game
gave his
itself, but
soul
this level
special
and this
treatment.
stream.
People who exited the
He's
world
sort
of
of
the living in
a
style.
representation of the sin of gluttony. He's, as James Gum from Silence of the Lambs calls them, a great big fat person
Everybody's damned.
who
The VIPs
just
are just
eats
comfortably
all kinds of
damned.
stuff
Little perks here and
and
there.
was apparently sent
They
to
get
hell
keep
for
their
it.
genitals.
So I guess in you know, in this current era we live in, that's not very body positive or whatever. But this was a different time. So. But George, yeah, he's a funky dude. We'll have more information on George coming up.
George, he's a funky
Yeah, so
dude.
far. He is a funky dude.
That's
I think that's the official description of George. Is George a funky dude?
It's true.
Jerry V says I still have to try Night in the Woods. It's a great game. It's nothing whatsoever like Shadows of the Damned or most of our games, but it's a great game.
And if you play it in Japanese, you get to read
Yep.
words that James wrote,
Yeah, I actually did the English to Japanese localization for the game, and
which is
it-
really
really hard.
unusual, by the way, for native English speakers. Most of the time, if you're an English native and you're doing localization, you're going to English rather than from English. So James is a pretty incredible man.
I like to do what I can. Let's see. Airdor says, where are you from, James, originally? Originally, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, from the peninsula.
Yeah, so when I went to Osaka, which is where James lives,
I already know what you're going to bring up.
he recommended me a burrito place, and I was like, okay, this guy's from the Bay Area, I can trust his burrito recommendations. And it was a freaking great burrito, which in Japan is hard to find.
Yeah, I don't know much, but I know my burritos.
Yeah,
especially
so
my style burritos.
yeah, so if James ever tells you a good burrito,
Let's
you
find
can
some
trust
darkness
it.
that gives
It's
us a
gonna be a
shot
good
at the
burrito.
switch.
Dead Soul DX says, it's not really unusual when the source script's original language is English, right? Actually, if it's going from English into Japanese, it's definitely not unusual to have a native English speaker sort of overseeing or like supervising the localization. But generally, the translation itself is done by a native speaker of the target language. So, for example, for Night in the Woods, normally it would have been done by a native Japanese speaker who speaks English. But I spoke with my boss at the time, who were the publishers and the team that made the game, and told them, look, obviously I'll have a native Japanese speaker doing the proofreading and stuff, but I'm really confident that I can nail this, so I'd like to get a chance at this. And luckily they took a chance on me and let me do it. And yeah, if I do say so myself, I think it came out really nicely. Actually, really hard. It took a long time, but it wasn't just translating the language. It was literal localization, like getting that feeling and that vibe of, like a early 20s, late teens person in an American town, having sort of, problems and issues and worries and stuff that someone in her name is, the main character is May, someone in May's situation would have, plus a lot of cultural references and stuff like that. Yeah, they decided, okay, well, this guy, he's American, but he speaks Japanese, let's give him a shot at it. And so yeah, it was actually a pretty unusual way to localize the game. But generally, yeah, the person in charge of the translation is generally a native speaker of the target languages there. Joe Williams so says burrito in Japan. That's right. They're rare, but they do exist, especially if you're in Tokyo or Osaka, where I live. They're few and far between, but there's definitely some really good burritos available here. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna give them a little shout out here. I'm gonna put it in the chat. If you happen to be in or ever be visiting Osaka and you dig burritos, it's written exactly like this. It's El Zocalo Burrito. It's in downtown
Yeah,
Osaka, and it's
though
amazing.
probably a lot of the people who come to Japan aren't coming for Mexican food.
Yeah,
It's like it's really good for me because it's like since I live here, I really miss Mexican food. So having a good
yeah,
Mexican
yeah.
option is really cool. But like if you're coming from like California, you're probably set for burritos, and I don't know if you want to come to Japan to eat a burrito.
Airdor says Douglas Watt. No, I used to. And kind of, I guess, building on that, Trinity Bringer says, did you do the translation while still working in Grasshopper? No, I did the translation while I was at my last job, which was for a publisher, an indie publisher here in Japan called Playism. And Douglas Watt, he was the dude that I worked with. He actually worked on the Silver Case games as well. But the translation, that was all me. Act 2, Cannibal Carnival. The best kind of
Right.
carnival.
Is it?
Desperado Dave says, biggest reason I could never move out of the States. Man, when I first moved to Japan, I'd never left California before in my life. And the sudden, utter lack, especially back in, like, when I first came here, it was a long ass time ago, the late 90s, even in Tokyo, like, you were hard pressed to find a burrito, let alone a good burrito anywhere. And that was definitely
Okay, James, you
a
gotta stop
huge
talking
shock.
about burritos because we're actually going to the boss fight right now.
It's really hard though. All right, I'm gonna try my best to stop talking about burritos.
What the fuck?
And real quick, the Silver Case did indeed take 1,000 years to translate. It was dense as hell.
And also
All right, so
confusing.
Yeah. All right, we're starting on the first of, I believe, 2 boss fights with George. This is the marketplace. Oh, and here's Paula. Once again, this is Garcia's girlfriend, or part of her at least.
That doesn't smell
She's got a few issues,
unless you
but
stop
She smells
showering.
bad. Her head is little detached from her body, but
yeah, Paula is
Well,
not
back to
fully
your rice,
anatomically
Vicky.
correct, but they did their best.
Garcia, is that you? You came to save me?
Angel.
Look out, G! It's a trap!
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, that's never a good sign.
I hate when my hot girlfriend gets exploded and turns into a boss villain.
All right, so this is officially
What the shit?
George.
Demons like men,
Um,
Garcia. They all try to get inside.
George,
Hideous girls.
he this is possibly kind of a tiny bit messed up, but one of the
Yes,
planners,
well,
or
that's
the
the
planner
reason
in
I
charge of
Fuck these
this
bitches.
this boss level here, apparently he had a pretty strong physical resemblance to George, and to the point where
Mr. Man Monster wants to play.
during development, other members of the development team would accidentally refer to the guy, sometimes to his face, as George, and I don't think he took it so well. That's a little
I mean,
behind the scenes fun fact
look at
for you
him.
there.
That's not very nice. So we are now in the boss fight with George. As you can see, we are in this little marketplace, and basically what we gotta do is we gotta surprise George with these light barrels. And when he comes up to us. Where is he? Oh my goodness. George. Oh, there he is. You gotta shoot one of these light barrels. That'll knock him over. And then you can get his little weak spot. This is big ol' head.
I too have a big ass dome, so I kind of feel for George on that.
Is it also your weak spot?
It kind of is, yeah. Like for example, it's extremely difficult for me to buy hats here in Japan. I've been wearing the same hat for literally 20 years.
What? Whoa! There he is. He just like freaking pops out of nowhere. I don't know how he does that. One of my favorite things about this boss fight is George has one of those like harmonica things attached to his mouth. And so, as terrifying as this is, it is also incredibly funny because you can hear his harmonica like constantly going off as he's chasing you.
I brought this up the first time Maddie and I did the practice run through this, but this is totally dating myself, and I'm not sure who, if anybody's gonna get this, but the whole harmonica thing always reminds me of Tim Deal from the Breeders in the Cannonball video.
He must be hiding around
Again,
here somewhere.
I'm hella old, and I apologize if I'm not making any sense.
Okay, and George got our goat, so we gotta get our goat back. I think, James, you have some fun facts about this area, right?
Actually, I was just about to bring that up. This another little development fun fact is this marketplace here with the whole hide and seek gameplay gimmick. This actually took a huge amount of time to nail down this this part of this level here. Just this one part itself, it took about 6 months to work out the environment and how exactly this gimmick would work and everything. They went through a bunch of different ideas and possibilities at the time. One thing that they were originally going to start with, or they were originally going to do, is have sort of like, I guess, an Assassin's Creed type thing where you could like jump up on the walls and, you know, jump from like rooftop to rooftop of these different stalls and buildings. Also, this whole little hide and seek area here was originally just over 4 times larger than it actually appears in the game, which in technical terms is hella big.
Yeah, I mean, it's already like, when I run through this, I like can't distinguish because it's already huge, and I don't feel like I'm, you know, seeing the same things over and over again. So to imagine this being 4 times larger is honestly insane.
Yeah, not only 4 times larger, but also having like double, triple levels, because
Yeah.
you can, you know, you're not only running around on the ground, but you're jumping up on rooftops and climbing up on like taller structures and stuff. And it would have taken like an hour and a half, 2 hours just to get through this one boss fight itself. But eventually they thought, okay, this is just a bit too much. This is really eating into development time and resources. So let's cut this down a bit. And I think they made the right choice there, because yeah, this would have been ridiculously confusing and time consuming if it was the original scale and gimmick they were planning on going with.
Oh, where is he? George! Ah, there he is!
Yokun says, wow, I like the idea of parkouring sort of for the fight. That would have been fun, but again, not only development-wise, but also gameplay-wise, it would have taken so much more time. So I think, again, I think they made the right choice in kind of slimming it down a bit, because, you know, you don't want to spend 3 hours just jumping around here
You can
trying
only
not to
do
get
so
killed by
much.
this fat dude.
Alright,
Yeah.
so we have finished the first phase of George. Oh, he's beautiful.
You're going back up a bit in the chat. Trini Bringer says the harmonica is both comical and slightly terrifying. I think that's exactly what they're going for, and you pretty much
Totally.
nailed it. Yeah, it's funny, but at the same time, it's creepy as shit. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, it's such a funny noise, but it's also like, you're like hearing these harmonicas and you're like, oh god, where is he?
Shove it into my face.
He's just
Yeah,
like,
you-
It doesn't think we're engaged or anything.
There's some dude like on the street corners going dun, dun, dun. It's like, oh hey, just got a harmonica. But if you hear that kind of coming up from behind you, walking down like a dark alley by yourself at nighttime, like yeah, that's I'm gonna crap my pants, honestly.
So what exactly exactly did that
We
do?
got our first blue
Blue
gem
gems let me
upgrade,
transform into new
which
tools of
introduces
war,
the
new
teether.
gears of me.
Is
In other
basically
words,
a
A
machine
new weapon.
gun
Magnifico.
style gun
I bet
that
all the
fires
VIPs
teeth.
are walking around with blue gems.
Our main pistol fires bones, and I haven't been using it, but we also have a shotgun, and that fires skulls.
I mean, obviously, I know exactly what's going on, being a master of gaming and everything. But just for those of us out there who aren't totally savvy on this, could you give a quick explanation of how the gems and like upgrade stuff and that kind of stuff works?
Yeah, so we collect white gems, which are our basic currency, which can be used to buy health items, booze, and also ammo if we need it. And then we have red gems, which are our upgrade currency. And they can either be found or they can be purchased from Christopher, who we haven't run into this stream yet. Our good buddy, cutie face Christopher.
Chris.
And yeah, we can buy the red gems, which are like basic upgrades, like upgrading your power, your health, your capacity, things like that. And then the blue gems are the special upgrades, which give you new guns and better guns
You know I
and
found
things like
Paula
that.
in a dumpster, right?
What? You said you met her at the supermarket.
I did. It was the bin out
And it's
behind
neat
the
because they
diner
each,
dozen.
one of my
And you
favorite
just
things about this
picked her
is your
up out
three
of the
guns
rubbish and
change
brought her
your
home.
flame
Why
color.
not?
Sometimes
And so
I
you
think
get
I
this like
hardly
cool
know you.
lighting effect. And it's not just like the color of the gun itself, but it actually changes the color of the flame and the lighting. So you can almost get like a different effect depending on what gun you're using.
Stuff like this is the kind of thing that I tend to enjoy most about these kind of games. Is just those really small little, like kind of extra, like I guess maybe even possible like afterthought type effects.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
I'm gonna
stuff.
go green. Oh, I'm gonna go blue now.
I don't know.
Yeah, and stuff
Well,
you
we've got
might
company,
not
as
even
in lots of.
like
Well, if they pull up
consciously
a chair,
notice.
we'd be happy to beat them with it.
The Duke Smith says, "I'm assuming Maddie's playing." That's right. This is all Maddie because I suck. So
Yeah, yeah,
this is all Maddie
that's
playing.
why I'm like not looking at the camera or talking to chat directly, because yeah, I am playing the game.
Dead Soul DX says, "I really love the 2D sections from Shadows. It has a paper theater feel to it." I really dig that part too. There was a game that I played somewhat recently that had something similar in it. I think it was I mean it's an older game, but was it Alice Returns maybe? I'm playing something thinking, oh, this is like that Shadows of the Damned thing, but kind of different, which is I know extremely overly descriptive, but yeah, something about the 2D little paper theater thing. That's one of my favorite parts of the game. I love that part. The aesthetic is really great.
Got all those guys. Okay. Oh, all right. Here's story time. This is gonna be George's
The man who
backstory,
never
so we can
had
go ahead
his
and give this a
fill.
listen.
It was a cold and snowy eve. Certainly no night for a man without a home to be walking these grey and
The man who
endless
never had
streets.
his fill.
Inside the pizza
It's a
parlor,
cautionary
George
tale, you
Reed
guys.
spun a lively tune on his harmonica. The local
I'll
children
shut up for a
giggled
second
and
so we can go
pointed
through this.
excitedly at the harmonica man as their parents glowed with approval. His reward would be all the pizza he could eat, 6 pies at least, and a warm bed in one of these folks' homes. He knew they were good for it. But when he tucked in for the night, George had not had his fill. As the years and calories stacked up, most men would have got older and fatter. Yet for all he consumed, George only got thinner as he washed from town to town. Tapeworm. Tonight he plied his trade with some grannies and orderlies in a nursing home. Hoo-ah! His harmonica filled the room with joy. After devouring 3 helpings of pork chops and mashed potatoes, he eyed the plate of the old woman next to him. Juice dribbled down his chin. "Go ahead, Georgie," she said. "You're such a good boy, you shouldn't have to starve." But George had not had his fill. Early the next morning, he was already on the freeway with his thumb in the air. "Where are you headed?" said the man in the truck. "Nowhere," said George. "Anywhere." It was a new decade, and tonight George played to an all but empty bar in the city. He had lost a lot of weight. Afterwards, the only woman in the joint took the stool next to him and asked him his name. The bartender leaned over the counter. "You don't know this guy, Mary. George is famous, been all over the tri-state area." With a wink, he added, "Man's insatiable." And that night, George proved it as he buried his face in Mary's beaver. "Holy woodland creatures! Attaboy, George! Attaboy, George!" "Play that harmonica," she purred. But even after 5 trips to heaven and back, he had not had his fill. The morning after was an awkward affair as they stared at each other over coffee. One wanted to feel more, the other just wanted to feel. In his final days, George was all skin and bones. I can relate, except for the skin part. His last meal had been a mistake. It was on a sidewalk one night in a small suburban town that he came across the boy. Hungrily, and with an agonized grimace, he opened his mouth to beg for help. Out came a cacophony of wheezes and toots, but the boy understood.
Wait, you mean Jorge ate his harmonica?
Once he was alone, George Reed looked at the candy bar he held in one hand and began to cry. They found George's half-eaten body in a market next town over. In one hand he held a knife, in the other a fork. Chunks of flesh had been torn from his chest and his arms. Blood framed an eerie smile. The wind that morning blew fierce, and as it whistled through the hole he'd carved out of his own neck, the harmonica man played his last song in this world. There were Gawkers, and many knew him. They shared stories of how he'd filled them with hope, filled them with life. They, at least, had had their fill. Especially Mary. The end.
Especially Mary. The end. That is the origin of George. That is the Georgian.
Maddie just coined that, you guys.
Yeah.
Feel free to use it. It's clever.
It is not clever, but
So I'll get back to the chat real quick. Nao-san says, ピッチョサミットで販売していたグラスホッパーの T シャツはまだどこかで販売する予定ありますか？そうですね、これも正直言っちゃっていいかどうかわからないんですけど、ちょうど今ね、グラスホッパーマニファクチャーの、公式ストアを、なんとか開設しようという動きがありますんで、全く同じシャツかどうかはちょっとわからないのですが、一応、まあ近い将来的には、ああいうグラスホッパー T シャツとかを一応販売する予定はありますので、まあ、また何かご報告できれば、できるようにしたらしようと思ってますね。Sorry, getting back into English, Nelson is asking if we're going to be selling the T-shirts that Grasshopper was selling at Bit Summit earlier this August somewhere again. And as I was saying in Japanese just now, again, I'm totally not confident whether or not I'm allowed to talk about this, but we are currently in the process of attempting to set up some sort of official Grasshopper store for all your Grasshopper manufacturer needs. I can't really comment on when or how exactly it's going to work out, but sometime in the not so distant future, I believe you should be able to buy stuff like official Grasshopper merchandise, T-shirts, various bits of merchandise and stuff like that. I hope I don't get fired for spoiling this, but yeah, that should be a thing in the near future. So if any of you guys are looking for Grasshopper shirts, or for example, the kind of towels or folders and stuff we were selling at Six Summit, if you happen to be there, yeah, we've got some cool stuff that we've got in the planning stages right now. So yeah, look forward to that. ナオさん、ありがとうございます。よろしくお願いします。The Duke Smith says, "Are you James Gunn?" I'm assuming you're talking to me. No, I'm a different James.
I am also not James Gunn. by the
Maddie's also
way.
not James. I'm one of the lesser Jameses, unfortunately. Sorry.
Oh, wow, I just like totally squished that guy. Don't stand under windows.
Stay away from windows is a life skill that you learn pretty quickly
You
in
never
the
know.
ghetto and in hell.
Suddenly, she
And a hot
slams her
man's
fork
just
down
gonna
and says,
jump out a
"Don't
window
answer
and
it."
squish your face.
First thing she ever said to me.
And that happens like 3 times a
I
week in
got
my
to take
neighborhood.
the
But
call.
Stop
I'm
standing
in a
under
very special
windows.
place.
Seen her. She jumped out of her chair, ran to the phone, and ripped it right off the wall.
Whoa.
Then she came and put her arms around me
Teeth
and
kill.
started crying.
Captain Oblivion says, "Wait, I've been watching the stream the whole time under the impression that you're both James Gunn." We're that's kind of what we're going for. We totally frauded you guys, and we're sorry about that.
Just as Keikaku.
Expecting
It was
phone
Maddie's
calls.
idea.
No, sir.
You know,
It was. I was like, what if we both pretend to be James Gunn? Then
Dios
we'll get
mío.
more people to
Paula,
our
is that
stream,
you?
right?
When will
That's what
this
people want to
fucking
see. A
torture
stream,
end?
two James Gunns play
From hottie to
play
hamburger,
Grasshopper
just
games.
like that.
What everybody wants. Alright, so this is introducing us to the firework machines,
At least in short
which
bursts.
are another way to dispel darkness. They are like a temporary light fixture. You gotta get up to it, shoot off the firework, and then
Just
you're
look at
okay
them.
for a little bit.
Fiery sprinkles in a great big chocolatey sky.
Johnson, shut up.
Great big chocolatey sky.
Dead Soul DX. Come on, man, don't make us talk about that.
Magnifico.
Airdor says Grasshopper James Gunn. You know what? I'm just gonna go with that until I get sued. I'm not gonna deny it.
Legally distinct.
Legally distinct. Yeah, I'm the legally distinct James Restaurant. Dead Soul DX. It's cool. It's just a bit of a touchy subject around these parts. That's all. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there.
These are called meat gates, by the way. And the meat gates, you just gotta hit them with the light shot, and they'll open up for you.
Stay classy, Grasshopper Manufacture. Eduardo Games. I'm sorry, my understanding and reading skills in Spanish are much better than my actual speaking skills. But thanks a lot for coming, and greetings to you from Japan. Fine Fictional Men says, "Who are your top 5 best boys of Grasshopper Manufactured boys?" What would you say, man?
Number 1 is Sumio. Can I put Sumio in 2 slots? Can I put Sumio Mondo in 1 slot and then Sumio Kodai in another slot? That's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And
So that
then,
counts.
oh boy, maybe Travis, and then Coyote from Killer 7, and then Henry Cooldown. I think that would be my top 5.
I'd say 1 to 5. Kusabi,
Best boy. Kusabi, best boy.
Batman, Travis, Sumio Kodai. And damn, number 5. I'm gonna go with Garcia actually, just because I mean, damn that jacket. I really
I
want
was
that
gonna
jacket.
say Garcia's about to cry if he's not on either of our lists. I mean, Johnson though, especially in Travis Strikes Again, like I'm a huge fan of 8 Hearts. So Johnson might be number 6 for me.
Edward says Sumio's a good guy, even though he still weirdly romanticizes a serial killer. Yeah, Sumio, he's got his quirks, but he's
That's why we love him.
he's trying his best, you know.
Oh, here we go. Here's another best boy. The bestest of all best boys.
What the shit is
Oh,
that?
oh, here he comes.
Take a closer look.
It's our homie Chris.
So cute.
Well, howdy ho! Name's Christopher. Now don't y'all be afraid. I ain't gonna bite. Trust me.
So this
You
is
see,
Christopher.
I'm
He's
what you call a
he's
mixture
basically
of
the
beast
neighborhood
and human.
wares dealer.
Oh, best of both
Maddie, do you want
worlds,
a
my
quick
pappy
rundown of
said.
the whole
But what are you
Christopher
doing round
mechanic,
these parts?
gimmick,
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah. I mean, he's
Term is here.
basically
Should I tell you?
he's
All I
basically
see
our,
is
our
demons.
buddy who
Well,
works as
shut.
a
You
shopkeeper.
gotta look
He'll
underneath
appear in
the
various parts of
leathery
levels. His
exterior.
area is really
Deep
cool
down,
because it has like these
I am a
bioluminescent
sensitive
flowers.
and
So whenever you see those flowers, that means that
I
Chris is
swear me
around.
and Fleming stole my girl.
And yeah, basically
Took
we
her
can
to his
exchange
castle.
our white
I
gems
am
to him
here to take her back.
for
Meaning you are on
ammo
a quest to
or
kick the Prince of
booze
Evil's
or
ass?
red gems.
Holy shit!
So he's a very useful,
Oh, I want in on
very
some of
useful
this
friend,
action.
and he is
How
voiced
can I
by
help, huh?
the
How
always
can I?
wonderful Cam
Well,
Clark.
I hope that you're offering more than just
Yeah,
enthusiasm.
Christopher
I
was
tell you what,
I believe
get
this is
pretty
probably
hungry,
mentioned in the
and
last
I
stream as
just
well if you were
love
here,
to
but
hub them
Christopher was
white
originally
gems.
supposed to be
You get
one of
enough
the
those
boss
and
enemies.
we can
He was
trade
a
with
bit
the
more
right
reptilian.
incentive.
I don't know
I
what the hell
might
you'd
even
call
be
this,
able
but
to
he was he
He's,
was a bit more
he
reptilian
explained
originally.
that he explained that he's
Know
half
what I mean?
demon, half human. So maybe he was like 3/4 demon.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then
But he
chuck
was
them
more he was much
sparklies
more like
right down
snakish,
the
I
hatch.
guess. And he went
Go
through a
on,
bunch of different
feed me.
iterations as game development and concept art went on. And basically what happened was the developers and the artists, they just kind of really started taking a liking to him, and they're like, he's just gotten so cute. Like, if he's a boss character, then we have to kill him, and we really don't want to kill Christopher, so maybe we can like set him aside and use him for something else. And so instead of making him into a boss character, they decided to have him be the basically the the shopkeeper guy,
Yeah.
and that's how Christopher managed to survive not getting his ass killed by Garcia, was just being so damn cute.
He's so
Christopher's
cute.
also definitely a top best boy, I
He is
believe.
a best boy. Just look at him. I want to give him a big ol' hug. Alright, so yeah, we got a couple upgrade gems from him. And now we come up to
Whoa,
Sushi with
what's
a dick,
this? Sushi with a dick?
These guys may look ugly, but they're
which
actually
are
quite
little
useful.
traveling
Are they
light
friendly?
sources.
Yes,
So
I
we
kept
just
one
light
as
him
a
up,
pet.
and then we can
Hit
follow
them
him
with
along.
light, and they'll keep you safe.
He'll take us where we need to go.
Again, nothing trumps realism in a Grasshopper game.
Yeah. If you've ever been to hell, I mean, you know all this stuff already. You know about the sushi with the dick. You know about Christopher.
We're not condoning overuse of DMT, but if you've been there, then you know. なおさんです。シルバー事件ならジャックハマーと、ジャックハマーのマスターと東京のコンビが好きです。あそこめちゃくちゃわかりますわ。そのやりとりとかローカライズするのがすごい楽しかったです。自分も大好
No,
き
there
です。
isn't. No need to get snippy.
Naosan
It's
says
just
they
this
like
wasn't
the,
here before. Since when do demons get buried?
the master of the bar jackhammer in Tokyo. That combination is cool.
Whoa, who did
I had a lot of
this?
fun
Mr.
doing the
X.
localization for those
Only a
back and
demon
forth, those
could
conversations.
kill
That's
these men.
That's one of
all
my
all I
personal
think
highlights
about
as well.
is when Tokyo shows him a picture of his turtle red, and he's like,
All
"Oh
and I
God, it's
promised we would be
hideous."
buried
And it's
together.
like I'm like, "Oh my God, you're the worst person ever. It's a cute little turtle."
Yeah, I remember that part. I remember reading that thinking, is this guy joking? Or no, he's just kind of a dick. Okay.
was gonna mention too, the save points, there's not one right here, but they're like these little flying eyeballs, and they are called one-eyed willies. Which is not funny or, like, dirty or anything. Just his name. He's an eyeball named Willie, so his name is One-Eyed Willie.
I think it might actually be a Goonies reference. I'm not sure, but yeah, more than like a, you know, a Dick reference. I think there's actually a higher chance that this is actually.
I mean, it's totally a Dick reference.
Well, obviously that too, yeah.
Shoot the red spots.
Jerry View says, wait a second, important question. James, were you the one responsible for the room reference in Silver Case?
Did you put a
Oh,
room
what's that?
reference in it?
There's a high chance that I did.
I mean, you would
What?
do something like that. I know you did the
I
Simpsons
absolutely
references.
would.
Wait, what was the room reference?
Yeah, Jerry Views. Do you remember exactly what that was?
That's
'Cause-
definitely something you would do.
If there was a room reference in the Silver Case, I mean, I localized it, so
Yeah,
it's
no one
definitely-
else would have done that.
Take a screenshot of my Switch. Let me check. On my Switch, let me check. Yeah, if you don't mind, that would be awesome. I'm super curious. That was a long time and a lot of games ago.
And also just a lot of words.
Yeah,
Like,
it
trying
was
to
a
remember
lot of
everything
words.
you did.
I can barely remember. I can't remember what I'm wearing right now without looking at the screen and looking down. So my memory is not what it used to be, or honestly, not what it never was.
Do you remember any other references you put in? I just remember the Simpsons one stuck out to me so much because I was like,
Oh,
what? Not expecting
Jenny
that.
Perez says, Morikawa said to Nakatagawa, keep your stupid comments in your pocket when he gets the relationship between Morikawa and Hachisuka. I do remember that. If actually, no, yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure I remember that. That definitely sounds familiar. But that was me, yeah.
Wow, that is such a subtle reference too. It's not like one of the bigger like room lines.
I'm thinking about it. And I actually now, yeah, I totally remember that. I remember sitting at my desk at the office, going and typing that. There's a couple parts of the game where I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna go full on here. I'm gonna go a bit more like deep cut for some of these random ass references. And yeah, that was one of the funnest parts of localizing the Silver Case, was just adding stuff in, just wondering, okay, like, you know,
Yeah,
5, 10 years down the line, who's gonna recognize this? Be like, hey, you put that in the game. I'll be like, oh yeah, I did, didn't I? You know?
yeah, well, I mean, especially for the 100 question kumite, where it was a bunch of like Japanese knowledge and Japanese trivia, so that you kind of had like free reign on what.
I had almost free reign. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember at the time being told, okay, there's a lot of stuff in this the 100 question kumite thing that is just not really gonna work out if you just
Oh, there he
directly
is.
translate
There's
it
One-Eyed
English,
Willie.
you know, culturally. So go ahead and put in whatever you think is appropriate. And most of the stuff that I put in, basically what I did is I'd write it up in English and translate it to Japanese and send it over to Suda and ask if it was okay. Most of the stuff he was like, yeah, that's fine, let's go with that. But there were a couple things that he was like, honestly, personally, I just don't care about or have any connection to this cultural reference, so change it to something else. Remember, I put in a couple questions about like Led Zeppelin, or like I think there was like 2 or 3 about like Kids in the Hall and stuff like that.
Oh,
And he's
that
like,
would
I
have
have
been
no idea what that is.
awesome.
I was really disappointed about the Kids in the Hall references being
We gotta get Suda into
taken
Kids in
out,
the
but-
Hall.
I know it's on the latest season's on Amazon Prime here in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's got Japanese subtitles or anything, but yeah, if it does, I'm definitely gonna try and get him into that. I would love just in any form whatsoever, some sort of Suda 51 Kids in the Hall.
Does he like Monty
crossover.
Python? Do you know?
I tried getting into that a couple times. He's aware of them. I'm
Okay,
not
I feel
sure
like
he's
he
ever
might
seen a
like Kids in
full-
the Hall better. I think it's like cruder and like stupider. So sometimes Monty
I
Python
think
can
it
be a
depends on
little.
the sketch. but-
Yeah. Monty Python can get a little posh sometimes.
yeah. Erica says, "Why did I change to jabroni?" Well, let me go back up the chat real quick. Yeah, in Japanese, Kuryanagi refers to him as Jaburo. And to be honest, I am not really knowledgeable about Gundam, so I remember asking, "What's this Jaburo thing? Is this like a reference I should be aware of?" And was told, "Oh yeah, it's from Gundam. If you could think of something that's more recognizable to Western audiences, go ahead and change it to that. But try to keep it as close as you can to the context and the vibe we want to put out. So that okay, she's kind of she's being a bit condescending to him.
You're one to
She's
talk.
giving him not it's not like she's calling him like dickhead or anything, but she's giving him a bit of a sarcastic kind of condescending nickname. So I thought, okay, well, Jabudo. Jabroni, that kind of sounds like that. Also, yeah, Jabroni is that would be a relatively condescending nickname. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead with that. That's where Jabroni came from.
Well, and it's a wrestling term, right?
I think it was definitely popularized by 90s, early 2000s wrestlers. I think
Yeah.
the Rock
So
in
even though
particular,
it's
but
not
there's that too,
Gundam,
so
but it's like wrestling, which is a very
that's also really true,
grasshopper
yeah.
thing. So it fits in that way
See?
too.
Chandelier. Brilliant idea.
For one you pulled out of your ass.
Joe Williams also says pseudo aware of the reference. I believe you're referring to the room reference. I don't think he is actually. I actually just a few weeks ago, relatively recently, introduced a couple of the other current Japanese GHM staff to the room, and wasn't really sure how they were going to take it, but apparently it went over really well. Two of
Wow.
the dudes in the office snagged up the last two available DVD copies of the room on Japanese Amazon, and I think they've been passing around and stuff back and forth recently. But I'm not sure if Suda himself is aware of it, but there's definitely some newly minted The Room fans in Grasshopper at the moment. Yeah.
It's interesting the things that can cross like cultural boundaries like that.
Yeah. The Duke Smith says, "Let's pretend it's an Always Sunny reference." You know
That
what? I
could be
think
too.
that might have also been part of it at the time too. I've been a huge fan of that show since it started, and I can't remember when the whole jabroni thing came up. It was before or after the localization of Silver Case, but there's definitely a possibility that was a part of it as well.
It must have been before. It must have been way before. Like Jabroni would have been in like the late 2000, early 2010s. Late.
I remember the episode where Max yeah, I'm calling people jabroni now. That's my thing. Oh, wait, that was Bozo? Yeah, okay, but I remember
No,
there
he
was
did a
a
jabroni
specific
thing.
episode where there was a jabroni thing too.
Yeah,
Was that
no,
the
that would have been way
hockey
before
one?
Silver Case.
Was that the one where Mac and Charlie win that radio contest to go to the hockey game? Was that it?
I just know that I was watching. I just know like timeline wise, that would have been way before you localized Silver Case. So it
I think
makes
you're right, yeah.
sense chronologically.
All right, in that case, let's go ahead and make this canon. That is an Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference in a Grasshopper Manufacturer game. It's now official.
Now official. Confirmed by the localizer himself. Alright, so we are now going into the second phase of the George Reed boss fight.
All right, this is where Josh goes full on hardcore, you guys.
You just call him Josh?
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh shit, sorry, George. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not from here.
Sounds like a cat having sex with a harmonica.
You're not from hell.
Consensual kind.
I'm not really from anywhere
Every
anymore,
demon
man.
has the right to pick the music
You just
for
like
his own funeral.
manifested someday.
I've just kind of always been here. Joe Williams so says, now we need a Seinfeld reference. I'm also, actually, I'm pretty sure there's probably a couple Seinfeld references, at least one or two somewhere in Silver Case and or 25th Ward also.
Yeah, I like that room one is surprising because that one's pretty easy to miss. The Simpsons ones are really obvious.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that the room one until it was brought up just now, and now that I've been reminded, I actually totally remember. I'm super happy. Thanks a lot. Thanks again for bringing that up. That was great.
Who knows all the treasures that are hidden in there? All right, so our buddy George ate his own heart and turned into a goat man with a horse with a man face,
Might I suggest we not just stand here?
as one does.
You die, demon scum.
All right, Dead Soul DX. What's the deal with Shelter Kids? That's great. That kind of kicked my ass just now.
Is Garcia Hotspur, hunter of demons and slayer of cabrons like you.
All right, James, why don't you give us some facts about Horseface?
don't mind if I do. So this is the second form of George, or also colloquially known as Josh in my mouth. The second form of George here. One thing about George is he was, instead of being developed first as a sort of more humanoid character, and then kind of gradually being like monstrified, I guess, throughout the concept art process, they came up with the monster versions of him first. And later on, they added the more, sort of human features and like, where specifically his weak points and stuff would be. They added that later on, which I guess that's kind of more of a common thing in game development. But one of the more popular and oft laughed at gimmicks in the game is what's officially known as a dark horse ship, which is I think you'll see in a second here.
Yeah, we saw some of them. We saw them far away. Our buddy George, his horse lets out little horse poops, which are made out of darkness.
Little
And
darkness nuggets.
yeah, we need that darkness to be able to hit this target on him.
And this is
here and face the right way.
Yeah, this is a kind of super deep cut behind the scenes development fun fact here, but the file name, according to the effect artist who worked on this, who was also still at Grasshopper, the file name for the little dark horse shit nuggets was literally poo-poo dot png, whatever it is, but they just went as straight as they could with that, and the file name was just poo-poo.
Poo-poo. Little poo-poos. There we go. Alright, so yeah, we gotta go in the darkness, we gotta hit his weak spot, and then we gotta hit his horse's belly. I did not get many shots. He goes up here. It's his old trident thing going on. Gets hit by the tridents. That was on purpose.
The Duke Smith. Yeah, I'm also in Japan. I'm in Osaka myself.
Alright, I think we'll see one of his little poops again. Here we go. Nope. Maybe. Little poop, George. Little darkness poop.
Another.
Oh, there he goes. Kind of missed it because we were on the other side. Yeah, he just did a little poop of this darkness.
No, the Duke Smith. I'm not a teacher. I work full time at Grasshopper. I work remotely, but I'm a full time permanent Grasshopper employee myself.
Yeah, and you've been doing stuff for Grasshopper for like 6 years?
7 years, maybe. I used to work for him freelance and do some sort of like just okay, I'll do it for you as a friend type work here and there and stuff. But as of this year, I'm officially a full time Grasshopper employee. Also, another little behind-the-scenes fun fact here is when they originally started working on this particular scene, this part of the boss fight, one of the programmers was that they tried using mocap technology, using an actual horse. That turned out to not be the best idea because on top of being ridiculously expensive and time-consuming, I mean, obviously, I'm sure it's possible, but for just a bunch of random game developers being, hey, let's get a horse and do motion capture with it. Yeah, that's that's not the easiest task to complete. So they gave up on that pretty quickly.
Wasn't the horse face supposed to have like a much bigger role too?
Sorry, the audio cut.
Oh, wasn't the horse face supposed to have like a much bigger role?
Yeah, it was. They went through a bunch of different iterations of the horse face itself too. Sorry. I think there's some of the versions. I'm pretty sure some of the other versions they had for the horse face were in the. They've been published in the official Shadows of the Damned game guide / art book, which I got a copy of it from work.
But like he was supposed to be Garcia's horse, wasn't he?
But yeah, that's another thing too. He was I can't remember. I'm not sure if he was originally going to be Garcia's horse or if he was going to end up as being Garcia's horse. But according to Ren Yamazaki, who is one of the main Grasshopper directors, who's been with us forever, in the third version of the scenario that they wrote up, Garcia was going to, at the end of the game, Garcia was going to go off on what he described as an endless journey with this human-faced horse here. And the point of his endless journey was going to be to collect the world's 3 major delicacies, which honestly, I'm not sure how common of a concept this is in the West, but in Japan, at the very least in Japan, the world's 3 major delicacies are usually it's foie gras, caviar, and truffle. But this being a weird-ass Grasshopper game, the world's 3 major delicacies for which Garcia and his creepy-ass human-faced horse were going to go off on an endless journey for, were going to be Chinese mitten crab, sauteable burgers, and Japanese black wagyu burgers. Somehow that didn't pan out, I guess, but that was going to be the original ending of the game, is Garcia and this creepy-ass human-faced horse going off in search of 2 burgers and a crab.
Was it still in hell? Or was that like not even part of it yet?
I'm not sure if that was even part of it. I know they were supposed to basically kind of like travel the world like Kane from Kung Fu or something. It was kind of like, walking the earth until they find these delicacies. So I assume at least that part was going to be out of hell. But yeah, that's I was given a pretty succinct explanation about this Phantom third version. That's all I've heard so far, unfortunately.
Alright, and so we're not quite done with George yet. He has now eaten the heart of his horse, his man horse, and now he's a big boy.
Yeah, I'm glad Grasshopper chose you guys definitely to bring ties to the English community. I'm glad they chose us too. Thanks a lot. We like to do what we can.
Doing our best.
And Naol-san says, Maddie-san, nice boss fight. I agree.
Thank you.
You're kicking ass.
Yeah, doing pretty okay. Alright, now we gotta shoot this big. Whoa! Big ol' stompy boy. Where's my tutor? So now we gotta get. He's got all these little red bits on his armor. So we are going to be targeting those. Trying not to get stomped on.
This is officially known as Mountain Goat George. But again, I'm gonna go ahead and make this canon. This is Big Ass Goat George.
That's right.
That's his official English name now because I said so, and nobody can find the thing. So, but,
I mean, honestly, I feel like that's a little more fitting because
yeah,
he is a big ass goat.
Big Ass Goat George was originally inspired by just the general Japanese tokusatsu genre, like stuff like Ultraman. The kind of like power, I guess for Western viewers, Power Rangers type stuff where you get these big ass enemies.
I do not remember this episode of Power Rangers.
I'm sure there was a big ass Mountain Goat episode of Power Rangers at some point. There's been like 19 Power Rangers series, as far as I know.
Okay. Let's get some ammo there.
This is kind of unrelated to this scene, but Deadsoul DX says, "All right, James, when I mentioned paper theater and you were trying to remember a game, did you mean Night in the Woods?" Night in the Woods was one of them, yeah, but there was a different game. Again, I'm pretty sure it was what's it called? Alice Return to Madness or Alice Return?
The sequel
American
to American Mickey is the second one.
Yeah. I think that's the one in particular I was thinking of. Yeah, there's a fine fictional man says this is Shadow of the Colossus vibe right here. This is very Shadow of the Colossus-ish. Shadow of the Colossus.
Is that Shadow of the Colossus-ish?
Again, I'm not from here. English is my 9th language, you guys.
Right.
DB Boy 20 says they picked up Alice in Shadows on the same night. Nice. Good little coinkydink there. Love both these games.
Oh, oh, he barfed stuff at me. He barfed weird worms at me. Do that. Alright, there are some I am missing. I think they're on his backside. Do not look up his loincloth, everybody. That's very rude.
That's
I'm
inappropriate.
not doing it on purpose, I swear.
Oh yeah, she's not doing it on purpose, you guys.
I have to shoot these ones on his butt. It's not my fault they put them here.
Well, Maddie does it because we brushed off, but I do it, and all of a sudden I can't go near schools anymore.
Alright.
Double standards.
Wait, okay, got all of them. Now we get to see. We had Darkness poop, and now we get to see Darkness pee.
The Duke Smith says, does Suda know who Millie Vanilli is? I'm not sure, but this coming Monday, I'm going to absolutely make damn sure he knows who Millie Vanilli is. Is there a reason for that question, by the way? Or? That kind of came out of nowhere.
Alright, let me just shoot his belly worms, and we are done. That is the end of Big Ass Go George. Sploosh.
Now, I am approximately hella old, so I totally remember Millie Vanilli. I was there in real time when the whole scandal broke and everything.
I am not hella old, so I have no idea what I'm talking about.
You don't know Millie Vanilli? Really? Is that...
They're
is
like,
it
I
that
know that
old?
they're like
It's a pretty prize.
singers,
I
but
smell an upgrade. Plug
that's
it in,
about
G.
it.
Yeah, see, the Duke Smith says, I'm hella younger and I know. So, Maddie, that's just...
I also
you're
have
just ignorant.
very poor cultural literacy. I only know video games and Simpsons. Anything outside of that is
Millie Vanilli was actually two dudes who were at one point really popular singers back in the late 80s. And they got super popular. And then after about a year or two, it got found out that they were completely just lip syncing. And
see.
I'm not sure they were even singing their songs at all, and just immediately kind of dropped off the map. And kind of a dark ending here. I believe at least one of the guys ended up killing himself. So it's not a happy story. But
Okay. Well,
they were
anyway,
a cultural joke
we
for a while.
finished the boss fight, so that
Ending
was
on that
it.
Millie Vanilli note.
Yeah.
All right.
That was George Reed.
So that that was George Reed, and that was Acts 2-1 through 2-4 of Shadows of the Damned. Thank you very much, Maddie, for your support as I sat here kicking ass and taking names throughout. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't touch the controller this entire time. Maddie, it was all on her. Thanks a lot. But yeah, before we cut off, let's see, does anybody have any particular questions, comments, complaints, preferably directed towards Maddie, not myself?
Not complaints, not complaints. Only questions or comments. Only nice things.
Yeah, fine fictional men, you missed the death of Big Ass Goat George and a discussion on Millie Vanilli for some reason. Eridor, thanks a lot. We really appreciate it. Uncle Phil Code says favorite moment so far of the game. Fine fictional men, yes, that's really what we were talking about. Maddie, what would you say is your favorite moment so far of the game?
I mean, well, so far it's kind of weird because if you were at our last stream, we did the boss that comes next. Two of my favorite parts of Shadows of the Damned are one when Garcia reads Elliot's book. He's very cute, and the way Garcia reads is adorable. And also, I love the first phase of the George boss fight, especially as I mentioned before, the harmonica just like makes that fight the best for me.
That is hilarious. I'd say because I'm hella old, but at the same time super immature. I like the part where the horse goes poo poo, and
And then the guy goes pee pee.
and the guy goes pee pee as well. And I really love that the 2D paper theater thing. Something about that aesthetic. I've always really dug stuff like that in games.
It's a cool way to do like all the transition between all the acts. You get to see on this like paper theater screen, which is really neat.
I'm not sure if that's gonna be coming up in a future stream. I'm kind of gonna push for it myself. What do you think, Maddie? Would you be down with
I'm down
playing
with
through that part of the game,
anything.
or? As I mentioned earlier, this is we don't have anything completely set in stone yet, but seeing as how next month again is marks the 15th anniversary of the No More Heroes series, the next live stream or two are most likely to be No More Heroes, one or more of the No More Heroes games. But
Yeah.
that's not to say we won't come back to Shadows of the Damned at some point. In fact, I'm pretty sure we will end up coming back to Shadows of the Damned at some point. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna push for the paper theater part myself, just because I just really love that part. And also, again, as I've mentioned earlier, I generally suck at video games, especially when they're even the slightest bit difficult and stressful. And Maddie doesn't, so
That's
it
what
would
I'm
be a
here
lot.
for.
It'd be a lot less stressful for me to watch somebody who's actually good at the game playing through it instead of me sitting here just like unleashing all kinds of terrible, horrible language while embarrassing myself at my own company's video game. Hopefully, we'll get back to that at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, Uncle Flacco. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry for screwing up your name. I'm gonna remember that. Uncle Flacco says thanks to the stream. Thanks for coming. Duke Smith says, are you all emulating or playing actual PS3? We're playing on an actual PS3, and I'm not. Maddie's 100% behind all the technical aspects of this stuff, but apparently it's to put it in
It's a
layman
pain
terms, a
in the
real bitch
butt.
to deal with. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a better way to put it. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt to set up
Yeah.
and deal with. So we apologize if there were any like latency issues or like kind of like what do you call it, like stuttering or anything like that at any point during gameplay. But yeah, we decided for several reasons it would be best to just avoid emulators and play on the actual hardware. And PS3, again, this is just something I've heard from Maddie. I have no idea what's going on myself, but apparently the PS3 can be a real pain to stream. So
Yeah.
thanks a lot for that, Maddie.
No
I would have just
problem.
completely given up and rage quit and broke PS3 if I had to try to set this up myself.
Yep.
The
Alright.
Duke Smith says, I remember when Maddie emulated. As far as Grasshopper Manufacture is concerned, that officially never happened, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Nope.
But as far as
I
Grasshopper
don't know
goes,
what you're talking about. Never
I mean, this
happened.
is only our second stream ever, but at least on the Grasshopper streams, we have not used emulators. I personally don't care if people use emulators for our games or others, but
Don't.
just as sort of soft company policy, we don't use them on Jameshopper Maddiefacture here. See, Maddie, do you want to check the chat real quick and see if there's anything in particular you'd like to touch on or answer, or should we go ahead and tell these guys to screw off?
Just like real quick, if we do our future No More Heroes streams, will probably be the Switch versions. One of the reasons is I like to play with the Joy-Cons because I like to do the wrestling moves, and that's how people should all play it. So yeah, especially if we're doing No More Heroes 1 and 2, it's going to be the Switch versions.
It's also it's not 100% decided yet, but we're probably gonna be doing No More Heroes 2 for our next
Yeah, at
stream.
least for our next one. That's our current plan, is doing something from No More Heroes 2. So
If enough people have an issue with that and raise their voices enough on Twitter, we might change it up to something else. But we hope you're cool with that.
don't encourage people to fight us.
I'm not encouraging. I'm just saying. I don't want to piss people off here. Oh, they do No More Heroes. Just screw those guys. Whatever. If we have like 5,000 people being no, I'll do like 1 or do 3 or do TSA, then we can consider that too. Like I said, it's just because it's not set in stone yet. But just letting you guys know it'll probably be 2. The Duke Smith says you should do Travis Strikes again. There's a good chance that at some point in the relatively near future we may do Travis Strikes again as well.
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean, there's basically, we just started streaming, so there's like tons of possibilities as far as what we might do and what we can do. And yeah, we're obviously we're welcome to your ideas and tell us what you'd like to see, what you'd be interested in, and yeah.
I think Travis Strikes Again would be easier on me as well, because I was actually involved throughout the whole creative process of that game. So it's going to be a lot easier on me for coming up with like
Yeah,
fun facts and behind the
yeah,
scenes stuff and everything.
definitely. James worked directly on Silver Case, 25th Ward, Travis Strikes Again, and No More Heroes 3. So those I feel like you'd have the most to say about.
I can nail those. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've yeah, the further back. Well, I was gonna say the further back you go in the Grasshopper catalog, that's not really true because I mean the Silver Case is literally the first game. But as far as yeah, some of the older games, for example, yeah, Shadows of the Damned. I'm not nearly as familiar as Maddie, and I kind of feel bad because she's sitting here not only playing but also kind of naturally knowing way more about than I do, and I'm sitting here trying to remember all this stuff that I had to talk to the programmers and artists about, and trying to making sure I don't screw it up and say the wrong dude's name or anything like that. So, but yeah, when it comes to the later games, I can yeah, I'm a bit more confident with those. Oh, and yeah, Duke Smith says Flower, Sun, and Rain PS2 run.
Live
Flower, Sun, and Rain
translation.
again. Also, it's sorry.
You'd have to do a live translation. That would be cool.
Actually, yes. I'll be honest. I could do it, but it's
Well, you could.
personally it's gonna be a bitch.
Yeah. You could go over it beforehand, so at least you knew it was coming up. But
Yeah. But yeah, the Flower, Sun, and Rain. That's definitely something that well, me personally and as Grasshopper, we'd like to get into in some format on a stream at some point in the future too. So yeah, Flower, Sun, and Rain. That's definitely not something that we're gonna say no, screw it and skip over.
yeah, no, that's one of my favorites too.
Flower, Sun, and Pain. It would be Flower, Sun, and Pain if I'm sitting
Well,
here
you could,
going.
but you could. I mean, you could just make.
He said.
You could just make stuff up, and people would believe you.
I'm not gonna lie. I might just do that just to see who's paying attention and or who can read the Japanese and stuff.
Right.
All right. Yeah. And also, Dead Soul DX says a Japanese only stream here and there won't be too bad. I think we're probably going to be doing that as well. It might be as long as Maddie's comfortable with it. It might be Maddie and myself. It also might be me and one or two of the other the Japanese employees of Grasshopper. And if everything lines up just perfectly, at some point it may even be Suda and myself. That's definitely not a promise, and it probably won't be anytime in the extremely near future, but that's definitely something that we're working towards. It might even be Suda and Maddie and myself, but at some point, I'm gonna do what I can to get him on the stream. Not just here kind of commenting, but yeah, I too personally would also like to see him playing through some of his games while I sit here making sarcastic comments and laughing at him and not getting fired for it, because technically at the time that would be my job. So yeah, and Joe Williams says more of the room references. I promise you I will add a couple more the room references in our next title. I'm gonna try and go as deep cut as possible. I mean, at this point, like, it's kind of hard to get deep cut the room references because it's so well known and everything now, but I can 100% guarantee you guys there are going to be the room references in our next game.
100%. That means if there aren't, you can come beat him up.
If there aren't, you can come kick my ass. I will use my children as human shields, but they're still small, so it won't be too hard to cut through them. But yeah, you have my permission to come kick my ass and sue me if you don't find any of the room references in our next title.
Well, I think that'll
All right,
about
so
do
it. It's we've been sitting here on this bug hunt screen for a while now, and I'm mainly out of fun facts. There's a couple things that we didn't really get to touch on, but I figure we're going to be coming back to Shadows of the Damned again at some point anyway. So I'll save those for next time. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and shut this down now. Thanks everybody for coming. My apologies for sometimes forgetting mid-sentence what the hell it was I was talking about. As some of you who I interacted with on Twitter and stuff last night may be aware, I was up till like 5 a.m. before doing the stream, so I'm still only kind of half here. Thanks again to everyone for coming. Thanks a lot, Maddie Jenner Kardashian for all your technical and gameplay expertise. In case it wasn't obvious in the context, I'm just completely making up her last name every time I say it. It's probably going to change every single time, but what are you going to do? So,
Something to look forward to.
all right, so this has been Grasshopper Community Deputy Maddie Fringin Kinjin Sinchin and Grasshopper Community Manager Grasshopper James Mountain. Thanks a lot for coming by, and this time we promise we're going to archive the stream both to Twitch for as long as it's able to be up, and to the Grasshopper archives on YouTube as well.
Yes.
We're probably going to have two versions, or we're shooting for two versions actually on YouTube. We're going to have the full version, and we're thinking of also having a sort of edited, cut down, boss fight specific version. So we'll let you know on Twitter what's up with that as soon as everything gets worked out.
And please follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, Grasshopper M. Follow us here if you haven't yet, and also subscribe to us on YouTube for Grasshopper archive videos. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for coming. Thanks for chatting, and just hanging out with us.
And for the any Japanese fans still watching, 今日は遊びに来ていただいて本当にありがとうございました。これからもよろしくお願いいたします。また英語でも日本語でも Twitter も、YouTube のグラスホッパーアーカイブもやらせていただいてますので、そちらも、フォローと、サブスクよろしくお願いします。
All right, see you everybody. Bye.
See you guys later.